With so many different platforms,
TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube,
and their purposes evolving daily, navigating social media can be, well, complicated. Welcome to the Social Media Sucks podcast from Cubco.
Social media really sucks.
Where we unpack the latest trends and help remove the suck from social media.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Social Media Sucks podcast. Today I have yet again Andy with us, our social media strategist, with his new haircut and brand new spring outfit. And then
is that a brand new spring outfit?
I bought this just for this.
I like this.
Exactly.
I like the color.
It's my return episode.
And,
you guys thought I'm gone, but I'm back.
Yes, stronger than ever. And then we have Chris, as always, our CEO and expert on everything.
Everything.
Everything. Yes.
I'm an expert on those clothes. I think Backstreet Boys called. They want them back.
Really?
But you also
won't
have a
give
quite
them
nice
back.
jacket on today.
That's right.
Can you
I'm
explain
also
a little bit
gonna-
about that, because it has a history? Apparently.
No, it doesn't.
Really? Oh.
It's custom, guys. It's
Yeah, exactly.
custom shit. Yes. No, you're looking very sharp, and I like that color on you, Andy.
Thanks,
And the white turtleneck is good. You should go white turtleneck and blazer.
I always want to do that.
Yeah.
It's good.
Also just.
Liz
turtlenecks
is
in
like,
general.
what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
So, thank you. I also think I look good today. Thank you,
You do.
so much.
Sorry.
For
Is that a new jacket? She's almost going white turtleneck and blazer. Almost. So.
trying to match him, match the energy here.
Yeah, you got to bring it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry. Next time
I'm
it's got to
trying.
be like flames shooting out. If you want to peacock around
Torches and everything.
here. Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about employee ambassador marketing
Yes.
as our topic. And I'm hoping we just, as usual, unfold the topic while we go.
Yeah.
I, of course, have prepared some questions. So let's just start with the very easy one. Why should brands use...
Maybe we should start with what is it?
What? Yeah,
Because I
of
think
course.
we
that's
say this
nice.
weird word like
Yeah.
employee ambassador.
Yeah, yes.
What is that?
Okay,
Maybe we
guys.
should just unpack what is
Yeah.
that first
Let's
of all.
unpack what is
An employee ambassadors?
ambassador advocacy marketing.
Okay. What is it, Andy? Tell us.
Why me?
Because it's
Why
always
me?
you.
You wanted to
You are
answer.
well
No, I
prepared.
don't.
You are the most well prepared. We know this
Exactly.
from experience. Always.
Well, like employee advocacy is essentially when you make your employees into brand advocates, and that can be for different reasons. You can use them for, empowering your new hiring activities or your general, employer branding. But you can also use this for actually just improving your brand positioning, as for example, Dunkin' Donuts does.
What does Dunkin' Donuts do?
They actually use their.
unpack that for us, please.
Let me unpack that.
Yes, please.
So Dunkin' Donuts is actually using their employees as content creators, and they use it for actually creating super relatable content. So when you go into a Dunkin' shop in the US, you have a chance that you're actually gonna reach one of their, TikTok creators actually. And
But is that it? Like, I think there's some draw the lines here because I think
that's
like,
what, yeah.
because there's advocacy, which is like somebody talking up the place they work. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I really love it here. Check out our products, blah, blah, blah. Like, look at my cool job. And then there's a new form of sort of employee ambassadors, which is more like employee influencers.
Or creators.
Like creators that
Yeah.
are actually like, being staffed. They do a normal job, but they also do a job of creating content.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is quite interesting, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
kind of like branched off into two parts. So what are we talking about today? Are we talking about both?
I think we should do both.
Both, yeah.
Okay.
The comparison, maybe, yeah. But I think, of course, it's interesting though, just to tap into what you just said about influencers. What is the actual difference then from using an employee versus the traditional way of using influencer marketing, for instance?
I think employee advocates are very often just resharing content that is being fed to them by their brand. There are many employer advocate platforms that actually allow brands to distribute content across their employees, who would then, essentially just reshare it on their own personal profiles, which is also a nice tactic. And I think we are working with a few companies who also do that. And I think they are all seeing some really nice results.
Yeah.
But where the difference is I think these creators are the ones, being responsible for actually the content side output of things.
Yeah.
And yes, they are still fed with like ideas and they are still guided by the brand. But essentially what makes their content perform super well on social is the authenticity. And that comes from the fact that they have a certain creative freedom when it comes to creating content. And that makes their content so relatable and authentic that people will just find it, always nice to connect with.
Yeah. And I think what we're seeing now, the evolution of the employee ambassador on social, is that content creator element. And I think I would say that it's sort of like the evolution of authenticity as well, because you kind of saw through it a little bit with employee ambassador programs. Like, hey, okay, they're just sharing this, and they're, even some of the more bigger platforms for actually employee advocacy, like Schmarp, right? And that was like, they actually gamify it a bit. So there's a kind of a point system in the back end where employees that share a certain amount, and I think like that always has a little bit of a problem because it's not authentic. It's like, it's something that's gamed, something that's like, you're only sharing this to get on a leaderboard somewhere versus actual advocacy.
Yeah, I agree. It's sort of like burned out or used too widely, I think, to a certain extent. But I think also what added to this being, not that authentic is actually that it's primarily salespeople who do this.
Right.
Because
or executives.
Because those are the roles that actually, expect you to actually build out a persona in these online spaces, because that's where you can basically gain a personal and also like a job related advantage from building your online persona. Right. But I think in general the sales part is what kind of made it like overused and a bit like inauthentic, because that like all these people just essentially gonna reach out in an email on LinkedIn and like, hey man, I have this cool service, do you want to sign up for it? I really like the content you put out, but do you want to sign up for this? And that's what's making it inauthentic, I think.
Yeah, so now it's like, that's like I said, the content creator side is a little bit less salesy or more authentic, and it's more like they're given the creative freedom to do something, but it's not necessarily, I mean, it's attached to the brand, but it's not necessarily like pushing brand things.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think it's more about like, the creativity part.
Yeah.
And just, creating something fun.
Yeah.
So why should brands ultimately use the employees as content creators?
Well, it's proven, and it was measured multiple times, that actually employee content is going to reach 8 times the amount of people on social than branded content would.
That's right. People rewind that section and listen to it again 8 times more.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And also, users are just more likely to actually react to a piece of content that comes from one of their peers and not from a brand. It's more relatable on a personal level. And also, just like on a trust barometer, it's just so much more relatable for anyone.
Yeah.
It
kind of creates a community within itself, right?
Well, not always. It depends on how you execute on it, I would say.
Yeah.
You can create a community with it.
But we can. I mean, on top of that, the reason why you're also seeing 8 times, and we mention this to clients all the time, is that a brand profile is capped.
Yeah.
Like the reach is capped. We can see that. The data is very clear. Social platforms want brands to pay.
Yeah.
Right. And they give normal randos like us more reach because it's personal and it's like it's in the feed and it like doesn't feel like it's corporate. It isn't a corporation, right? So, you're gonna get way more impressions than your average business, which is very interesting. So like a lot of brands will come to us and say, how do we get more followers? How do we get more engagement in our content on LinkedIn, for example? And one of the clear things that we say is like, start using your employees because they're going to get way more reach than any page that you have.
Yeah.
So I think that's that also has to be mentioned here is why you would want to use your employees. I shouldn't even say use your employees, like why you want to get them involved in this, why you want to empower them to create content, to do these things. It's because they're going to be able to to tap through.
But isn't there
get
also a
through.
risk when you use actually you activate your
Exactly, there is a risk.
Exactly. Can you guys unfold a little bit of what that could be?
The
Because
risks?
it's not, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
I
you
mean,
can talk to
The
that
cons.
because you're
Yeah.
like on the employer side.
I am on the employer side. I mean, okay, there's a few things here.
Yeah.
One is, there's a lot of things. One is, there's a blurred line between what is your job and what are you doing on social. And it's not in any of our contracts that you should create content for Kubbco or for yourself, and that takes time. It takes attention away from maybe your regular job to create content. So as an employer, I'm always looking at, okay, is that the right place to put the attention, right? And I think every employer needs to go through that discussion and be very open and honest with their employees and say, okay, we're expecting you to do this. It's probably going to take you this much time. We need some of that to exist outside of normal hours because we need you to continue doing your job. Or you're putting out in the contract, okay, part of your job is content creation and we expect it to be 10% of your job. And, then we need to plan for it and account for it. So there's that, there's the risk that those lines get blurred.
Yeah.
And then there's also the risk that you're going to build an influencer, a content creator that's probably going to say, wait a second, I'm spending all my time at this job when I could be at home making content and being creative and being fun. Maybe I want to do that instead, right? So there's a risk that you give them a platform, you give them a space to create their persona, their account, their community, and then they say, adios, I'm gone, right? Which is like, hey, wait a second, we paid you to make this stuff, and now you've created your own. It's like paying someone to create their own business on the side of your own business, right? It's like you're creating a problem for yourself, right? So there's that risk as well. So that has to be very clear in your contracts that are saying like, you can't go elsewhere. Like you're stuck here, right?
Slave.
And that's simple. That's very, how do you do a contract
Yeah.
like that? I couldn't even begin to make a contract like that. I wouldn't even know, like legally you'd be fucked. Like legally, like I think all HR departments would not touch that at all. No. They'd be like, you're demanding what? You better be paying them a shit ton of money then. So there's that problem, which becomes a major risk.
Yeah.
But would it be actually a risk that essentially it would be like, so let's use the Cubco example. Like you would actually have maybe not even just one, but like multiple employees leaving and like embarking on this creator journey. And then would that be actually a bad thing for example, from like a brand image standpoint? Because then all it means is that essentially Cubco has like an internal content school, let's say.
Yeah, like there's not just I'm not saying that it's devoid of upside. I think there's tons of upside as well.
Yeah.
But you always have to look at also the downside
That's
and say,
true.
like, you have to outweigh this and say, okay, the risk sort of the cost risk benefit or the benefit risk analysis is that, okay, does the benefits weigh weigh the risks? And you have to do that. And I think for some brands, it's those things don't align, that the risks are too great according to the benefits, right? So I think each brand has to do that and find out what it is. So, but I do agree that our business would make sense because we are content creators here, and it would make sense that people do that. Like a couple of our people have side hustles. Like you do fancy plant stuff.
Do you?
No.
You don't sell those stuff? You should sell them. They're so good.
What fancy
Plant stuff?
You're like you're sort of like what's
I don't
it
have
called?
green fingers.
No, it's not plants. It's like dead plants.
Okay.
Oh, you see?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I make those bouquets for myself, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could
Dried
sell
flowers,
those.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You could have your own you could have your own TikTok. I mean, Barbara, our head of strategy, she has her own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like where she talks about diet and exercise and stuff, right? So, and Hara, someone on our team, has her own e-commerce business, right? So, and she's doing content for that on the side. So obviously we have an environment where we allow those things, but those things are separate from Kubbco.
Yeah.
Meaning that we're not really getting people to create content for us on a daily.
Yeah.
Right. Or for, opening their own channels and doing that. But
I think, but you agree that there is like more upside to it then.
for certain brands.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think how brands have approached it is saying that we're going to hire this person that is a waiter or like a paint technician. I've seen a lot of like painting things online lately.
There's actually a famous case of this.
Yeah, where this guy got fired. Yeah. So he was creating content about different paint.
Yeah.
Like trying to match colors to things. And he got fired because he tried to match. Someone was like, hey, how do you make a blueberry color? So he like jokingly threw a bunch of blueberries in paint and pretended to mix it up and then got a blueberry color out of it. And it was just a joke. But they fired him because they're like, you shouldn't be creating content while you should be working.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's, they did the wrong thing. They should have said, okay, we can lean into this and probably win
But
big time.
Do you know what was the next step that happened right after?
He had
Like
his
the
own channel,
dude
right?
got hired. They got hired, or he got hired. Sorry, by the straight up competitor.
Yeah.
Because they saw the value in it,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Come to, I
Yeah.
think it's called Florida Paints or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, come to us, dude. Like, you can do all this stuff."
Yeah.
Because he had like 1 million followers,
Yeah.
or like something like
Yeah.
that.
His
Insane.
old employer was stupid.
Yeah.
These guys were smart. They capitalized on it. They saw that the benefits outweighed the risks.
Yeah.
Right. But that happened.
What about just a very low practical thing, like when you use your employees, how do you make sure they don't deviate from the brand, for instance, for the content they create, or if they, I don't know, what else could they do?
Like there is also the radical transparency thing, which is another addition to the risks. But
Yeah.
it also depends, like in some corporate situations. I also saw some of those influencers getting pretty big who are, like mental health influencers. And, like when you are trying to enjoy your weekend, but, Monday is like, what's up, man? So like,
Monday's always lurking.
and assumingly, like maybe I wouldn't want to work where they work because that's, a negative backlash to the certain company where they work. But yeah, what was the question?
Like how do you courier the content?
How do you
your
curate? Yeah,
Or
I
how
mean,
do you make sure they
guides.
don't deviate from from the brand, for instance?
This is a tough topic as well.
Yeah.
Guides, training, and also some level of freedom. I mean, a lot of debate here is, okay, well, you've hired them, you've trusted them to be a face of the company. In some ways, they're maybe not customer facing, maybe they are. Can you not trust them with your social media presence? And then the other argument is that, like, if that person screws up, then just
You're
fire
screwed.
them.
Yeah.
Like, and just say, listen, like, this is how the internet works. I mean, I'm sorry that was a racist tweet or whatever it was. Like, that was not cool, and we recognize that, and that's why they're no longer with us. And I think you can be.
That's risky though.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
But like, that's the thing. Like, and the internet forgets. I mean, not the internet forgets. The internet never forgets. But the internet moves on pretty damn quick. Like
in a day.
Yeah, and it's like, Pepsi also does some very woke advertising, and it's like everyone complains about it, and then the next day they
remember the
forget
Kylie
about it.
Jenner
Yeah.
commercial? Like I barely remember it actually now. But like anytime someone says Pepsi, I'm like, oh, they did that lame commercial.
Yeah, but it doesn't prevent you. Like their stock went through the roof after that, and their
Did it?
their sales hasn't been impacted at all.
That's
So
true.
It's very like
Bad publicity
you
is
always
still publicity.
Yeah, that's right.
the thing is that the data, like Peloton, for example, is another good example of like coming out with a shitty ad and then people backlashing, but Peloton's doing fine. Like they're literally doing fine. And I think that's where we need much, much more realistic discussions in marketing and advertising about what is actually the risk of these things. Because I think the perceived risk is way greater than the actual risk. And that's where, there's a big issue. So how do you do it? You train them, you give them some creative freedom, and you can put in some stops. You can say, okay, you have to save everything to drafts first, and then, we'll review it.
Yeah.
It'll probably slow you down like hell, but there is ways.
Of course.
Essentially, I think this is my crazy idea, but I think there is huge potential in this. So for brands who feel like it's worth it for them, maybe like, makeup brands or any like B2C brand where it's actually relevant, like Dunkin', I would actually create a small team who's only responsible for this. Like, or like maybe it's like a part of their job being responsible for this. Like from like, someone from the internal comms part comes out, or like someone from the marketing team comes out, and like from now on you are head of employee advocacy or like you're head of the employee creator program.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. And then like your sole purpose is to actually create briefs, provide them with like content ideas, provide them with inspiration, review, engage in conversations with them, encourage, empower. And I think that's probably the way to go about it.
Yeah.
Like you need someone dedicated to this because yes, there is a certain amount of, review that's needed, especially in the beginning, I say.
Yeah.
But the creative freedom is also essential because if there is no creative freedom, there is no authenticity.
Yeah.
So,
but I think like there's also there's a lot of interesting influencer platforms that are built for externals as well, where it's like there's a brief and then that person answers the brief, loads up their content, and the brand pays them. There's also, I imagine that would be something in the future for internal brands or internal people as well, where it's like, it's an influencer marketing platform built for internally. And then you just put up your brief. And then if employees want to answer that brief, they can. And they can publish the content on their own channels. I mean,
cool business model.
So nobody steals it. If you're listening or you're like, hey.
Trademark it.
Yeah. The internal employee advocacy platform or employee creator platform.
Yeah.
Maybe we should build it, Annie. It would never fly. How would we make money on it? Just sell the licenses.
You only need one big client.
You only need one. I love it. You only need one big client, then you're done. Yes. So
let's thank you guys for your input. Let's
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Not impressed.
No, I'm impressed always.
I have a question for you though.
For me?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Because I got asked this by a client today because we presented something a couple days ago in relation to this topic.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, and they sent me an email today, and I was like, it's funny that you asked this question because we're going to talk about it on the podcast. So I'm not going to email you back with the answer. You have to wait.
You have to watch the podcast.
You can just send her the link to the podcast.
Yes, exactly. This is how you get more subscribers, folks. You don't answer client emails with actual answers. You send them to your content.
Yes.
So, Christine, if you're listening, the question is basically, how do you track all of this? Because if you have employees on their own platforms, not on, of course you can also have them doing stuff for your own platforms, and that's something else, but is in this discussion. But if they're doing stuff on their own profiles,
how can you measure it?
What
metrics?
That gets like a lot of manual work, right?
Well, it depends. You can also just, make
Brand
it part of the
mentions.
deal with the creators that they actually, report back to you.
Yeah.
Or you can set up like a measurement framework. Like I'm pretty sure there are multiple tools that can do this.
Yeah.
What
You put in
metrics
their
should you aim
profile.
after?
Sorry, what?
What metrics should you KPIs or whatever?
Reach, engagement. If you already have those, you are more than good. And then you can always track links with, UTMs, or if you have if you're a B2C brand or even B2B, reference codes. I think if you're a B2B brand and you want to drive some sales, I mean, it's not necessarily a good move from like a branding standpoint, but if you want to boost sales, you give like a 5% reference code or like a 5% deal to your employers. And if someone comes back,
It's like an affiliate marketing within your own company.
yeah. If someone comes back, you get 5% of the sale.
That's interesting.
I think Chris will send an email out tomorrow saying, we have this new enrichment.
Everything. That's your salary, guys. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Everything you sell just gets into your salary. Okay. So
but
affiliate marketing links for the team. That's the next step. I love it.
Capitalism.
Yeah.
Capitalism. It works.
Yeah.
Sort of.
For our own merch.
For selling merch, I
For
love
our
it.
own merch with
Yeah.
Cubco hoodies and caps and whatever.
You guys can all become affiliates. Yeah.
I love that idea actually.
Yeah.
But I think
You'll
one
be
of
so
the
competitive. Like,
I would be like,
fast.
I'm leading sales, guys. What about you?
That's also another thing we can add to the platform. Like, we're gonna build the most amazing employee creator platform / employee affiliate marketing platform. Guys, this is the future.
But I think it is actually the future.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, I'm not joking. It sounds like I'm joking about this, but in the back of my head, I'm like, this is actually a good idea. Maybe we should cut this part out and not mention it. So
We will see later if this
We'll
actually
see who
makes the
make it.
public or
Yeah.
not.
it's a shitty idea. Don't take it. It's a very bad idea.
You've heard it first here, anyways.
Yeah, but I think there are just like a few things that you still need to do if you want to implement any of this. And I honestly believe this is the next step, or like the new generation of like employee advocacy, is like turning advocates into creators. And the first step to that is actually just co-creating with them, just providing some sort of ownership,
Right.
or some sense of ownership. And I think that's already like a good start.
Yeah.
And I think all brands can already benefit from that, because essentially there will be the engagement, there will be the reach. You don't necessarily have to start by setting up like an affiliate link or anything like that.
No, just start small.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
identify a few advocates or essential
Creators.
prospects, creators, and start with them. Like start with 5 people.
Yeah.
See how it goes. Pilot it.
You can even start with just one person.
Yeah.
Like, find somebody who's creative on the team that
Yeah.
wants to do some stuff, and say, hey, go do
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
I think it's definitely a cool idea. And then you can of course see how are you doing on the resource side of things.
Yeah.
Because you might even be able to help that person with like content creation side things, or you might be able to just like help that person with coaching, or just with like, again, like a weekly or monthly brief, like a creative brief, like hey, this is what's up, which part of this could you imagine yourself doing?
Yeah. Well, that leads me to this idea. If you're listening and you live in the Copenhagen area and you'd like to be an intern at Kubbco and be our internal content creator doing employee content, write me a message, chris@kubbco.com, and we will have a fight to the death cage match with all of the interns. No, I'm kidding. There's no fight to the death. I think that's illegal, right, Liz?
No, that comes after they're hired.
Yes.
'Cause after they're hired, we hire a bunch and then throw them in the cage back here. This is the cage match area. No, so I'm serious. If you would like to be a content creator at Kubbco, we will support you with the tools that you need. We've got nice cameras. We've got nice equipment. We've got nice jackets. We got nice stuff. We got a fade haircut. We could do all that for you and more at Kubbco. So message me, chris@kubbco.com.
Cubco with a K.
Yeah.
People often ask me that when I say I work at Cubco. They're like, C-H?
Yeah.
C? Whatever.
Chubco.
But it's Danish people, so of course they think C, like Cubco, so like club-ish,
like the Cubs. Like the Cubs and the Mets. Yeah.
So just
Yeah, I know. It's a
Unpacking it for the
shitty.
Danish
It's a really
people.
shitty name. We're gonna change it next year.
What?
Again?
To what?
well, you don't have to figure it out now.
We're gonna change it to I don't know, dude. Whatever. Just whatever.
Just whatever.
Okay.
Just whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Call
Worst
it
agency in town.
call it Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Like right in the middle of
No,
There are
there's
so
also-
many agencies called Monday.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday.
You can say
Wednesday.
another Monday.
Another Monday.
That's a Monday. Most motivating company name ever.
Yes.
Another week.
Oh, we are actually having a meeting with another Monday. Right? And when like next Monday?
Yeah.
No.
There's lots of agencies. I think we're just gonna call ourselves agency.
Okay.
Another agency.
The
I
agency
think actually there
agency.
is
The.
That's good.
All right,
Okay.
let's wrap this episode up.
Yes.
By maybe, I think you guys should outline a little bit the tips Do you guys have? You can ping pong
I
on
have
some
them lined
tips.
out here.
Good. Yeah.
Hit us.
What
hit
if
us
I'm
with some
hitting
tips.
them and you can always like, one by one add to it?
Okay.
Like how would you tweak it in like a tactical
Sure.
way?
Okay.
So identify the advocates and, the creator material. First step,
Yeah. Cage match.
cage match. Provide guidelines for the creators
That's easy. You
on
just
a
write.
regular basis. Creative briefs.
Creative briefs are good, and then some, general social media guidelines like
Yeah.
no swearing, no using this word, no using that word, no showing nudity, stuff like that. That's easy to do.
Okay.
But put it in their contract. Like one of the things is like, if you're gonna get people to create content and it's not part of their normal contract, you better put that in there. Otherwise, it's too much of a wild
I need to
west.
check my contract now.
I'm not asking you to concrete. Oh, actually, we
Actually-
are. We are asking you to create
Yeah.
content. Shit.
Actually, I think it's proper in my contract, by the way. But
It is in your contract to make. It is
I
in
think
some people's contract.
in
It does
my-
say
yeah, in
create
mine it
content
says-
for Kubbco.
yeah.
Yes.
Damn, I'm paid
Job
for
not
this.
done.
Yes,
I made it.
we got
But-
you, Andy, for life. You didn't read the fine print. It says for life.
Oh no. Feed them with content and content ideas on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's hard to do,
Hard to do, but worth it.
but worth it. But I think also you can start to ask them like, what do you think we should do? Like
Yeah.
if they're also a creative person, then and they're working with like Dunkin' Donuts. They're working with the donuts every day. That's like
But Dunkin' actually has a monthly creative brief coming out.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they do the creative brief part.
I love it.
Reward them.
Yeah.
Affiliate links.
Affiliate marketing.
Money always works.
No, I think that's a good. I think money does work, and I think
Yeah.
like also extra benefits. I mean, like when you guys are here, you're working overtime, so you get overtime time back. So don't do it like that. He's
I'm just
doing
joking.
he's doing me dirty here.
I'm
Like
just
I'm the
joking.
Worst, like I'm the
I'm
worst employee
joking.
here ever. You knew this.
Sorry. Let employees implement their own ideas.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
if their ideas are any good.
Creative freedom, authenticity,
I
or
like
just
it.
shitty content.
I mean, I don't think you can make. I mean, it's social is so hit and miss anyway. So
That's
who's
true.
to say what's gonna work?
Yeah. I think essentially it's like quantity versus quality. And then this is something that could, if you integrate it well into a content ecosystem, this could be something that's relatable to, brand relatability and also like the quantity of content.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right.
Let them implement their own ideas to some
Level.
level.
Okay.
Somebody's telling me to wrap it up here, but I will say like there's a good interesting case where this guy decided to test water at Disney. He got fired. He was a Disney employee. And
Oh, the
this-
guy who sits back in the car and says like, I just got fired?
Yeah, because he was
Oh.
like testing water at the different fountains in Disney and was like rating it, and he got fired.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because he
That's
was like
crazy.
saying some restaurant's water was crap, right? And Disney's
Okay.
like, you can't do that.
But it's also not a smart idea to do that.
We got a lot of views, so it's like
Yeah,
what
that's
works
true.
and what doesn't work.
That's true.
That kind of goes out
Yeah.
the window here.
Any more?
Implement it across your content ecosystem. We kind of just covered that. And then, stay aware of the quality versus quantity aspect. Quality is not going to be always there, I think.
No, I agree.
It's hit
like
or
they're
miss.
not professional
Yeah.
film
No.
or content creators, right? So
But
some
that's,
stuff's gonna not be great.
that's all, folks.
That's all.
Great.
Thank you.
I love it.
For all the golden tips.
Love it. Very good tips, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. This is the
Yeah. Thanks
the
so much.
employee ambassador marketing episode. Stay tuned for another Cubco social media
What are we
Sucks
talking
podcast.
about next time? We don't know.
We shouldn't say that because then it's
Let us
easier
know in the
to-
comments below what ideas. What,
That could actually be nice. What topics would you guys like to listen to?
That's what I'm getting at.
Sorry.
Why you step?
Talking so slowly,
Do whatever Ooh just said in the comments below, and we might take your ideas and just
about
use them for our own benefit and not give you a shout out. No, of course we'll give you a shout out, and maybe we'll send you something nice.
Yeah, that could be
Let us
great.
know in the comments what topic we should cover on the next podcast.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
smash all the available buttons except the unsubscribe.
And the dislike. Don't hit that.
Yeah.
I actually hit the dislike. I would
Yeah.
love to have a video that has more dislikes than likes.
probably we only have that, like those videos. You always say that.
All our
Like,
videos. Okay. Adios, amigos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.
This has been the Social Media Sucks Podcast.